Oh, I got eyes in the back of my head, just in case I have to run. I do what I can when I can, while I can for my people. While the clouds roll back and the stars fill the night, that's when I'm gonna stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home, far across the river. Can you hear freedom calling, calling me to answer? Gonna keep on keeping on. I can feel it in my bones.
You have made it 100 miles to freedom. Would you like to pick a new name to mark your freedom?
Paradigm.
Boom. There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm trying out some new things while I am working to get this studio done. I'm going to be talking to you really quick about 5 reasons why most podcasts and podcasters fail. Let me check my audio and test. Yep. And also check the feed that's coming up on the other locations of where we are posting to. And I think we're good there. As usual, I'm trying this out a little different this time because I was getting messages from people who said they would like to come and be a part of this, to ask questions and everything, but the timing just didn't work. Whether they're working or everything like that. So I decided to move it to maybe a weekend just to try to see, or I may start moving it later in the evening for people East Coast and things like that. And then we'll get it together one way or another, right? So let's see something here. I'm running some different things on my screen, so I'm like checking those as well. But as we go through this, as usual, if you do have any questions, any comments, please throw them down on the screen there. And if you're watching this on a replay, hit team replay. 5 reasons why your podcast is failing. I know some people are wondering, why can my listenerships doesn't grow? Why can't this happen? I'm going to tell you a couple of reasons. Remember this, please. Everything is opinionated on my end. There is no absolute roadmap to getting your podcast to be seen. And that's what we're going to be going through, right? Everything someone tells you, my coach tells me, is trial and error. I'm trying things, I've been working through them. So, but without any further ado, let me jump right into this. And at any point in time, if you feel like you have a question while I'm going over some of these things, please go ahead and jump in. I would love to hear your questions, throw your comments there. I appreciate that. And for everyone who's watching on the tube, hit that subscribe and that bell. I appreciate all of my J1Qers who are over there as well. Thank you guys. So let me jump with this one right here. Number one, okay, why some people who are not succeeding. And then I'm going to give you an action plan because most time people tell you what you're not doing, but they don't give you an action plan. It's not going to be anything intense. It's going to be just really quick, fast, into the hurry. But not having a compelling why for your podcast. What does that mean? Well, podcasting is seen as cool, right? It's trending. It's the thing that's in right now. Many people who start a podcast are just exploring the idea of being a podcaster. But as a result, they throw in the towel once they realize how much work goes into podcasting. It is not just grab a mic and talk. There's a lot more things that goes into it if you truly want your podcast to grow. Very rarely will someone says, you know what, I want to test this out and see how it goes. And they stick with it. If they don't have a why, because they truly, really want one. If your why is not strong enough, then to ignore the shiny things that you can't do, you're going to just go ahead and fold in the towel, right? The podcast is not niched enough. We speak about this all the time in my course. You need to niche down your podcast. Every podcaster comes in and says, I just want to talk to everyone. I want everyone to know exactly what I'm saying. It does not work that way. Trust me, you need to niche down. And by niching down, you are going to get more loyal people listening. Podcasters by nature are loyal listeners. They listen on the way to work. They listen while they're walking. They listen at the gym. They will listen to you. But you have to niche down to what, specific. You can't be for general for everyone. If you find that some people still don't niche down, they get into podcasting thinking, I will do a podcast for everyone, like I just said, right? But here's the thing. If something's for everyone, then it's actually not for anyone. Listen to that again. If something is for everyone, then it's actually not for anyone. We have to remember that podcasting, we find that to narrow and niche down, we can serve and add value to our listeners. So here's my action step for you, though. Get clear on why. Sit down, write it down on the paper. Again, go back to the previous things I've been talking about and develop a strong and compelling why. Get a piece of paper. Why am I doing this? So when it gets tough and you want to quit, you will realize, there's my reason for keep going. Okay. Reason number 2, why people fail at podcasting. Having unrealistic expectations about money. I don't even need to say it again, but that's one of the biggest questions I get when people come into my class, my course. How much money can we make? Let me tell you something. I tell them it's very rare that when you come into this, you're going to start making money from sponsorships right away. There are ways to make money from your podcast right away, but from sponsorships, it's a road that you got to take. So, but that's basically the biggest reason, or the second biggest reason why people fail, right? They have unrealistic expectations about the money. They believe they can find a good sponsor or advertiser that pays enough money, but I'm sorry to burst your bubble. That's almost impossible to find to start. Suppose you've done an excellent job niching down, like we said, on your podcast. Now, in that case, your listenership is going to go down. It's going to go down to maybe 200 people, for an example, that just listen to you alone. You think that's a bad thing, but it is not, right? So now that you've done that, your listenership won't be big enough to allow you to make the money with the sponsor or your advertiser, because they're going to say you don't have enough listeners. But it will grow. It's a long-term game. You're going to need a product or a service that you can offer your audience, right? So that's one of the things I tell you. You can make money right away, but don't come in expecting making sponsorships. People, ask me and everything, and I tell them right up front when they come into my course, I am no guru. I am still being coached myself, right? I pay tons of money for my coach to assist me, but it's worth it because I know what my why is and what I'm pushing and I'm going forward towards, right? But you can sell your own products. If you have a candle business, if you have a t-shirt business, every episode of my podcast, I promote my company every single episode. Why? Because I want people who are listening, I'm reaching a broader audience. And I have more of a podcasting listen followership that's more loyal. So they want to visit, they have a better chance of visiting my webpage and everything versus me just putting an ad on social media, right? So just the kind of thing there. So, but here's an action step for you to take. Keep podcasting as a hobby as long as possibly that you can. Have fun with it. Make it about serving people, not necessarily going for fame as most people do and all those things like that, right? Be yourself, be humble, just enjoy your community, even if it's small. Even if you got 200 listeners, enjoy those people. They will be more interactive with you. It's not about the numbers. The people who succeed in podcasting are not the ones seeking the fame or the money behind it. They're just having a good time. I get on a mic and I have a good time. Like Nas once said, it's all about one mic. What you say, Nas?
All I need is one mic.
That's all I need.
There's nothing else in the world.
It's just about
All I
having a
need
good
is one
time,
mic.
ladies and gentlemen. But you want to make sure that it comes across because your listeners can hear that, right? Don't worry about the fan and everything like that. They're going to gravitate towards you. Number 3, the third reason why people fail at podcasting. Let me grab this drink right here real quick. They fail because of being unable to keep up with the workload. I'll say it again. They're unable to keep up with the workload. They think podcasting was just, let me grab a mic and let me talk. That's great. And that's true. But if you're serious about growing, there's tons more things that goes into it, especially if you're going to start bringing in guests, especially if you want to have multiple people coming on. You need to have forms, things to send out to them, emails. You need to get your posting out. It's a lot. You're disorganized. Many people try to map out everything using memory, quoting a productive expert. Your head is having ideas, not for storing them. Right? That's what your head is, for having ideas, not for keeping them there. Too many people try to store things and they memory and they don't get developed. You need to have what we used to say in the service, an SOP, right? Standard operating procedure to help keep you organized. I have a solution for you as well. I'm going to be giving away a free giveaway for one of my Leap into Podcasting books that I have left. And I'm going to give that away to as a gift to some of our listeners out there as well. But here's an action step. I told you I'm not going to only give you one of the reasons why it's not happening, but a reason or a way to change it, right? Everything you can automate, delegate, or eliminate. Look at all of those things that you're doing and ask, is there any way to automate this? Is there a way to put it into AI, into a system? I gave you a small example that I did and I shared with some of my class and other people. When you're trying to schedule a guest and you're writing it down, automate it. Use Tidy, use Calendly, use something else so that your guest can choose the date and the time and make sure you stick with it. Stick with the date and time that they have, right? If it's not possible, can you delegate it to someone else in your team? Can you delegate it to maybe a friend or a family member, someone else like that, right? Do that. And number 4, you don't market your podcast. The little simple saying, ABBA, ABBA, always be branding, always. I wear my hat. I wear my clothing line every time. This is my clothing line. Why would I not advertise it? Why am I going to not be talking into the world and not tell someone, hey, make sure you stop off and check out our store at this such and such website? You know, for anyone who's listening, mention this and we'll give you a 10% discount. Mention this code and we'll give you X, Y, or Z. This is your radio station. This is your advertisement. Free. Use it. Always be saying it, but remain optimistic, right? Keep on going and be excited about the future. Remember that if you're impacting lives, you're helping someone every day. Even if it's a comedy podcast, right? You're making someone laugh. It's worthwhile to keep on going. Just believe in yourself, right? So make sure you are out there advertising everywhere. We go to the grocery store. Hey, have you checked out my podcast yet? This is what it's called. Check it out. I have people pull out their phones sometimes right then and there. Is that you? Yep. Click follow. Click. Why? Why not? Right? And the 5th and final reason people fail at their podcast. You guessed it. They give up too soon. Message. Most podcasters give up due to low downloads, not having an engaged audience. They often feel like 2 outcomes are telling them to give up because they're not getting what they asked for. You can't. That goes back into your why. Ladies and gentlemen, it goes back into your why. I'm going to recap here really quick just to show you all exactly what I was talking about once again. If you're just coming in, define your why. You need to figure out why you're podcasting. If it's just to have fun, then don't worry about anything else. But if you want to grow, you got to do the steps. I see people asking questions in the group often. Well, where do I start? If you're serious about it, then you need to find a coach. If you're serious about it, because you're asking a group of 20,000 people, 300 people, you're going to get 20,000 different answers or 10,000 different answers. You still don't know which way to go. Which one is good? Which one is right? Which podcasting host platform is the best? There is none. The best is you, right? My podcasting host does not do video. People say, oh, Spotify does video now. Then go to Spotify if that works for you, right? But I love my podcasting host because it works for me. Shout out to Libsyn. Give it up. Lipson in the house. But other people love Podbean. They love Captivate for whatever reason. Not one is better than the other. Your why though needs to be the reason why you keep on succeeding. You got to do it. That's the best way to absolutely make it work. The next one is define and have a clear message. You cannot be jumping around from left to right talking about A, B, C, and D. You can encompass all of those things into your message, but your message needs to be clear. My podcast is absolutely clear. If there's a sponsor that doesn't want to work with me because of that, great. That means that you weren't the sponsor that I wanted to work with anyways. Just like the song that first came on, I want to lift my people up. My podcast is absolutely about the uplifting and education of Black and brown people. Now, I don't care who brings that message. You could be white, Asian, whatever. If your message can deliver it to the Black and brown community and give them an uplifting spirit or provide them with information that they can maybe go out and apply for a bank loan or start business with it, then you are for my podcast. Bottom line, right? I'm clear about my message and who I'm speaking to and why I'm speaking to them. Actively build relationships. Stop thinking about this thing that you got to do it yourself. Tell my students all the time, one of the best ways to grow your podcast is to be on a podcast. You need to start putting your message out there to other people. You need to tell them why they need to come and listen to you. Have other podcasters on your podcast. You're not going to grow this by yourself. I am always looking to be on another podcast. I'm always looking for podcasters or someone else who has a message to come. There's no crab in a bucket theory. You're thinking, well, if I have you on my podcast, you're going to take my listeners. Then your show isn't good enough to have the listeners. If they want to leave you to go listen to someone else, then you need to check yourself, right? I'm a different type of coach. The streets are not made for everyone. That's why they have sidewalks, right? I'm going to tell you what it is. Like my coach told me, you're doing this wrong, correct it. I don't want to hear the fluff. If you want to grow, then you need to know what to do, right? Become a guest, as I was just saying on another podcast. That is one of the best ways to grow. It is simply one of the best ways to grow. My coach recently, I was looking at one of her podcasts, and she had a portion there where she was highlighting another podcaster on her podcast, right? And this is someone who's not who just went to syndication, who's not indie any longer. She is in the big leagues now, like the big major networks, and she's highlighting other podcasters. Why? Because that's what she believes in. That's her thing. And then I think that's it. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, so those are the quick little 5 recaps of everything like that. Again, if you have any questions, make sure you put them down. If you're watching this on a replay, put #replay, team replay. I'm absolutely loving it. Make sure you hit that subscribe, that bell, so you get notified when these come out again. We're pushing. We're on a mission, and you either come in or you're not. I want you to come. I'm looking forward to it. I believe in you. Keep believing in yourself so you can come and nerd out with me just as well. Oh, get my face right there. There it is. That's my nerd out. Yeah. So thank you all for taking the time and listening. Those are your 5 reasons why I feel podcasters fail. Make sure you check yourself and read them and listen to it. Don't give up. Make sure that you go and market yourself everywhere you go. You tell someone you are a podcaster, right? Tell them, listen to me. When you're on the radio going home from the grocery store, click on my podcast and listen to it when you're going home. Matter of fact, I want you to check out episode number 17, episode number whatever. I don't care. You need to make sure you tell them, right? And then I'll recap the last ones here as well. Make sure that you have realistic expectations about the money. Money is coming fast. Money's coming, but it's not coming fast. And then when it comes, you will know you'll be doing really good, right? And make sure you have your why. Your why is the absolute most important thing, right? Ladies and gentlemen, there's nothing else. Thank you all for taking the time and listening to me. I appreciate it, right? Without you, I would have no one to talk to. Even though my wife says I would still probably keep talking. Message. Let me do it again. Message. Right? The question is, your niche, simple thing I give my students, and I'm going to give it to you for free. Listen up. Ask yourself this question. What would you talk about if no one was listening? I'm going to end it right there. Have a good day. Oh.